So the situation is that I was too lazy to set up my main shelf setup for filming, so we're over here by the side shelf and we're just gonna enjoy some beautiful afternoon light and talk about some books. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I just wanted to do a Priority TBR video. I think that's what they're typically called. These are not books that I promise to read in any particular month, but they are the books that I am prioritizing, the ones that I want to read first, and the ones that are sort of the most important for me to read right now. So just a small caveat, all of the books on my TBR are honestly pretty high priority. There are definitely some that I know I'm not going to get to for a long time, like I have a copy of the Iliad. I don't need to read that immediately. But most of the books on there are books that I really want to read soon, but choosing which ones to read first is kind of a challenge. So this is basically just a list of books that are on my very top priority. These are the ones that I either need to or really want to get to very soon. I hope that making this video doesn't make me feel like I have to read these books, because technically I don't need to read any of these. I am trying to do more mood reading, so it's not a requirement that I read these, but these are the ones that I feel like are most pressing right now. So without further ado, let's get into my Priority TBR. Okay, so my top priority is a book that I am currently reading but have really slowed down on because I've been reading sort of other things alongside it, and that is Unwell Women by Eleanor, I don't know how to say the last name, Cleghorn, I don't know. But this one is a nonfiction book about misdiagnoses and myth in a man-made world. That's the subtitle. But it's basically about misdiagnoses for women throughout history, and it is very interesting. I am really enjoying this one, honestly. But I got a bit sidetracked because I started some other fiction books, and you know, once you get drawn into a fiction book, it's really hard to put that down in favor of a nonfiction. But I do really like the idea of reading a fiction book and a nonfiction book simultaneously, because you get like two different vibes and you kind of can choose between the two of what you're interested in that day. But this is one that I've been reading throughout the later end of June, and now that it's July, I feel like I have a slight responsibility to finish this one so that I can tell you guys about it and tell you my thoughts on it. So the book is out of frame, but this is my top priority book right now. Okay, now we're getting into newer releases, which are always sort of top of the priority list because I bought them in hardcover, and if I buy a book in hardcover, I feel like I have to read it immediately because I went to all that trouble and spent all that money on a brand new book. So if I don't read it immediately, by the time I end up getting to it, it's in paperback, so I could have saved a bunch of money. So, top of the list for new releases is Heaven by Miko Kawakami. I've heard amazing things about this one, but the main reason I picked it up is because I just finished reading Breasts and Eggs, also by Miko Kawakami. These are Japanese translated books. This one was an automatic 5 out of 5. I talked about it in my June wrap-up, so if you want to hear my full thoughts on this, you can go listen to that. But I got this book in paperback because it came out in 2019, or at least the English translation came out in 2019, and I just bought it. So I was able to get the paperback, kind of read it guilt-free, didn't have to worry about rushing through it. But now I have Heaven, which is a 2021 release in English translation and is a hardcover, and I feel like is really important that I read this now. So this one is about two kids who are bullied in school. That's all I know about it. Kawakami's writing style is absolutely gorgeous, and I definitely want to get more of her writing, so very excited to read this one. High priority. All right, moving right along is A Lonely Man by Chris Power. This is a book that I picked up solely because I read his other book, Mothers. This is a short story collection, and absolutely loved it. It was a 5 out of 5, even though there were some stories that I wasn't like 100% vibing with. The overall vibe of the collection was so amazing, and the writing was so beautiful that I knew I had to pick up A Lonely Man as soon as it came out. I believe this one is about a friendship between two men who meet by chance, which sounds, to be honest, kind of boring, but going into this one, I didn't know a ton about it, and I still absolutely vibed with it. So yeah, I have faith that I will still enjoy this one, even if the premise doesn't immediately grip me, because his writing is really great. So I think I will still enjoy it, and because it is a hardcover, I do want to read it pretty soon. And the final new release that I really want to read is The Anthropocene Reviewed by John Green. This is his essay collection that just came out. So So of course, because The Fault in Our Stars is my favorite book, I had to pick this one up, and I honestly think I will enjoy this more than some of his other books. I've tried to read Paper Towns, and I read Turtles All the Way Down, and I think I've tried to read Looking for Alaska as well, and honestly, I really didn't like any of them, which is so weird because, as I've said, The Fault in Our Stars is my favorite book, so you would expect some of that writing style or interest to transfer between his other books, but I really didn't like any of them. So I think the essay collection will be better for me, honestly, because I really love the format of essay collections, and I really like how pretentious part of John Green's writing style is. I think it doesn't really work as well for teenagers in his like YA books, but I think it'll work really well for essay collections. And also, I've been watching the Vlogbrothers since like 2010, so I think this will be kind of a natural extension of the way that they talk about stuff for that channel. So I really have to read this one. So next up is a book that is just priority because it's something that I really want to read soon, and that is There's No Such Thing as an Easy Job by Kikoku Sumera, I think, ? This is also a translated book. The reason I picked this up is that it really gave me breasts and eggs / convenience store woman vibes. It seems to fit in really well with the themes of a lot of other books that I enjoy, which sort of examine an unlikable character's life, especially female characters, and the character in this book is just trying to find the easiest job possible, which isn't inherently unlikable, but it does sort of give me convenience store woman vibes in that way. So I think this will be something that I will really enjoy, even though the chonkiness of the book is a bit intimidating, but the themes and the concepts sound like a lot of books that I have read before and enjoy, and also the fact that this is translated makes it a win-win situation. So I'm hoping to read this one soon, especially because I have picked it up recently, and I am trying to read the ones that I pick up while I'm excited about them instead of letting them sit on my shelf for a while. So probably going to be reading this one soon. Oh, I guess this one is a new release too. It is The Hierarchies by Ross Anderson. This is a book that I found just browsing Goodreads. I was looking for books about AI, but especially books that were like more recent about AI or sort of had the same vibes of Clara and the Sun. So a book about AI that kind of goes from the AI's perspective or something like that, which I really didn't think I would find other than Clara and the Sun. But this is the book that popped up when I did those searches. The cover is just amazing. It immediately drew me in and I knew I had to get it. So I believe this is told from a robot's perspective as well, but it's about fully sentient robots who exist to cater to humans' every whim, which sounds a lot like Clara and the Sun. But this sounds like it will be a little bit more negative in terms of the robots having a problem with their duties instead of Clara and the Sun, where Clara is totally okay with her life and being a robot. This is probably the book that I'm going to pick up next, honestly, because it's the one I'm the most excited about, and I also just got this one in the mail, so I definitely want to pick this one up soon. But for some reason, I'm just really into stuff related to AI and interesting perspectives on AI. I did not think that that was going to be something I would enjoy, but it has turned out to be a theme that I want to read a ton about, so very excited about this one. So speaking of Clara and the Sun, I have Never Let Me Go, also by Kazu Ishiguro. I really love this cover. So this one is often considered Ishiguro's like magnum opus work, and it's also sort of a dystopian book. I don't know a ton about it. I think it takes place in a school, but after reading Clara and the Sun, and then I just finished his short story, Come Rain or Come Shine, and I definitely need more of his writing in my life because both of those were so good. So I'm probably gonna pick up Never Let Me Go pretty soon as well, but very much a priority because I'm loving Kazu Ishiguro's writing right now and I do not want to miss out on more of it. Okay, coming to you with kind of crappy phone footage, but I forgot to mention that All's Well That Ends Well is on my very top priority. I haven't read this one, and I'm going to see this at the end of July, so I really need to read this one. Technically, I don't have to, but I really want to read the play before I go see the play. So, All's Well That Ends Well. Top priority. The final book in my priority TBR is Kim Ji-young, born 1982 by Cho-Nam-ju. This is priority not because it is new, but because I am obsessed with translated literature right now, and I have been reading a lot of Japanese translated literature, but this is a Korean translated piece. I definitely want to read more Korean translated literature, and this seems like a really good place to start because it just sounds super interesting. It is is sort of a combination of fiction and nonfiction in that it is fictional, like the story itself is fictional, but there are footnotes at the bottom of a lot of the pages which relate to studies that back up the stuff that the main female character is going through. So it's really just a commentary on what the life of a Korean woman looks like and all of the prejudices and negativity that women in Korea have to deal with. And I love the idea of backing up what happens in a fiction book with nonfiction evidence, because we can kind of point to those things as we're reading a fiction book, but to have the author do it for us is so pointed and so intense, and I love that. I've had this book for a couple of months, but after reading a lot of other translated lit and really being in that mode, I think this will be a really good one to read soon. Alright, there's a lot of books here, but this is my priority TBR. As I said before, there are so many books on my shelves that I desperately want to get to, but there's only a limited amount of time, and these are the books that I know I'm really going to enjoy, or at least I think I will, and I'm very excited to read soon, thus they are on the top priority right now. Let me know in the comments what is on your priority TBR. What are the books you're the most excited about / need to read? Do you have to read stuff for school? Are you just reading for fun? Let me know. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.